Well, those are the beeps. 6 p.m. Everybody will please stand and face the flag. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Meeting opened at 6. Has everybody had an opportunity to take a look at the agenda? And if so, and I guess if there are no changes, we would need a motion to approve the agenda. That's Cindy?
The agenda.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the agenda as written. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? How about the minutes from May 3rd, 17th, and 24th?
Any changes from anybody?
I think the only thing that was really changed had to do with the spelling error that was.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve May 3rd, May 17th, May 24th.
I'll second that. Go ahead, Brian.
I'll second.
Motion was made and seconded to approve May 3rd, 17th, and 14th meeting minutes. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Move on to public input.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I'm Gordon Richard, and before I pick up my newspaper folder and reporting tablet, I want to share a few thoughts on, as a citizen of Alcester. My wife and I moved here, we're just finishing up our 3rd year and enjoy it a great deal. But I was very recently very shocked to hear about our police chief resigning. I considered him a consummate professional, and I'm just very concerned about what brought him to abruptly leave the city employment as our police chief. And I would encourage you, as leaders of our community, to look into what's happened, why has it happened, and to make recommendations and remedies for why a professional such as he would all of a sudden leave. Thank you.
Yes. Is there any other public input? Yes.
Yes, I'm here because I want to know who's on the liquor board and how the chain of command goes. You know, I've been there 25 years, and it used to be if there was a problem, I called the head of the liquor board and they took care of the problem. They brought the problem to the right people.
Sure.
And granted, Patty has helped me a lot with this, but I don't even know who's on the liquor board, and then Darla just informed me that she's on the liquor board. Well, you know, I just wanted to know, because I don't understand why I was broke into, why you need to get estimates to get a new door put in when the insurance company's taking care of this. There's 2 new doors. When Carmen came to look at it, the last time we got broke into, they messed with the front door also. Okay, so all they did was bend a little bar back in place and called it good. Well, it's not good, because when you could take a door and move it like this, you could still get something in there. I don't care if it's on Main Street or not. When we go home when I lock that bar up at night, anybody could be standing there, you know. It's just scary.
Yeah.
And I just hope that this time we get that building secured. That's what my concern was. I wanted to know who's on the liquor board and who do I contact if I have problems? Who do I go to?
Well, we have a committee, a liquor committee. I cannot tell you right off the top of my head who is on that committee.
Darla, Cindy, and Brian.
That's us three.
Okay, you three. Okay, so I know. And if I could get one of your phone numbers, I can contact you. And that way you guys can do it. I know she's got her job to do too. Patty's been very helpful for me. But there's other people that should be involved too. So that's all I wanted.
And Darla, you are the chairperson of the...
Yep.
Teresa, I have a question. Is there something that needs to be done with the front door yet?
Well, according to Carmen, who's on the insurance, when she came there, she said it needs to be replaced or rebuilt. You can lock it like this, and you could still pull it. And every so often, I gotta take the screwdriver and screw the lock back in because it gets loose. I don't know how, but that shouldn't be happening. That's just my concerns. The back door, the guys rigged up some 50-pound bar that I gotta put in there and bang in there every night. It's working, and I appreciate it. It's working. But it should be done properly.
And just to let you know too, the first two people that I called never called me back. I left messages.
Right, I know that.
This is a crazy time of year to get a contractor to come in.
It is.
I did meet with Casey. He did give us an estimate. It took a little bit to get the estimate. And I will tell you, in his estimate too, he told me, again, with everything, there's a long lead time. So it's 4 to 6 weeks.
I figured, 'cause
once
you
we
gotta
move
order.
forward. So, and with respect to both doors, I'm just keeping the flame clean. So right now, we're just gonna do the back door. And then, and we can look at doing the front door at a later time. But right now, we will get a whole new back door with a steel, not wood. So,
Well, we definitely will. I mean, that building actually belongs to the city, and granted, the business inside is your responsibility, and rightly so, but we need to protect our own investment as well. That building should not be damaged over and over and over again, so that's good input. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have input. I'll be checking on the FOIA that I asked for, or the sunshine thing. With regards to your banking and your deposits for payroll, it appears that you might have a violation or two, not your rules. These are the rules that control ACH things. So you better be careful. I've given handouts, Mythbusters, as it concerns payroll. The May 24th council meeting, there are some errors, and there's something that I would suggest, and strongly, and I will be acting on it. Instead of the council being the planning and zoning, there was some real awkward movements back and forth. But we really should have members of the community, non-council, on that planning and zoning committee, so they could put their input in. I also, in the councils, a email between me and A&B Solutions regarded with the tablet. This was brought up in a criticism of me, and an individual accused me of posing as a person from the finance office. And as you can clearly see, this happened on the back part of that one page, that the conversation between myself and AB Solutions happened September 21st. This is when I was a councilman, or council person, and why in God's name would I associate myself with the finance office when I was a council person? I was accused of overstepping my duties. No, that doesn't happen. With regards to the water tower running out of water this past week, there is a device on there that's to give a warning it sends a warning to, I believe, South Lincoln, and they in turn call the folks here, they call a phone number here, to let them know that the water tower is close to being run out. This is so we don't have the water tower run out and then spend the next day refilling the water tower. And that's a problem because of the suction problem, or suction in it to fill it. There's a donation plea from the city on city stationery. We're going to be, the citizens of this community are going to be stuck with upkeep and stuff for the community building. We're being hit up for another $150,000. Why is that? And I noticed on the agenda a bill for garage doors for, or I'm sorry, not garage doors, for doors for, I think it is the sheds, the golf cart sheds?
No.
I'm not sure. What doors? Why weren't they included?
Bar.
I'm sorry, what?
The bar.
Bar.
The bar. Okay, that explains that. With regard to your visit with the Sheriff's Department, for taking over patrolling Alcester, folks, that's been addressed before and not successfully. The thing is that pulling sheriff's deputies out of Elk Point is a time frame. If you got an emergency, you're looking at 30 minutes or more. And if you have any doubts, talk to some of the folks in Hudson. They've got some real issues, and they've got Lincoln County Sheriff's Department handling their law enforcement. It's a sad thing when the police chief feels pressure on kibitzing his judgments. And going back to the sheriff's thing, county seats do fine having sheriff patrols because of the county seat. Outliers like Alcester and Hudson, like I said, the deputies are generally out of position when the calls come in. And the thing is that if the sheriff's not, or if the deputy isn't in town all the time, they miss out on signals or things that they would notice in the community that are happening. Like I said, one last thing. Why was item 10 on the May 17th agenda, why was that abandoned? That had to do with setting up check signings, signatures for a new account. ACH, I'm sorry, not ACH, health savings accounts. Those go directly into the recipient, the employee's account. Why would the city have to have access to that? Don't get that. And I've looked at the NACHA rules, and I have a 30-year AAP giving me advice. The thing is that when you set up those accounts, those go into your account, you manage it, you don't have an administration individual changing those. Just like time cards. We do have a situation that could conceivably cause problems on time cards because the administration of that program could go in, and I believe has gone, I don't know that for a fact, for my eyes seeing it, but changing when somebody has forgotten to punch in and changing that, that's a bad road to go down. That's not even low maintenance, that's no maintenance, that's the road doesn't exist. So like I said, you want to be really, really careful or you're going to get sued. So that's everything except what I put in my blog.
Any other public input?
Mayor?
Yes.
I don't know if it's public input or not, but my name's Larry Nelson. I'm an attorney with the Freeburg Law Firm. I'm Sam Nelson's father. Sam's off doing military commitment, and I'm standing in tonight. So for those of you that I know, hello again. Those of you that I don't know, hi. Thank you.
And the only other public input I have is a thank you card that we received from the family of Curtis Sogstead. I'll pass it around. It just says, we have lost someone very special. Thank you for sharing our grief. And the city of Alcester did provide them with a small gift to help them with things like this and thank yous, etc., some stamps. So postal stamps. Any other public input?
I'm not gonna try that one.
Okay, hearing none, we will move on
You
to
don't want to give me that?
item number 6, ordinance 2021-09, a temporary ordinance regarding the issuance of local medical cannabis establishment permits and/or licenses. Yes.
Council members and mayor, if you would look at page 2 of the ordinance under section 1, line 5, you'll see SDCL 3420G1, and in line 6, you'll see SDCL 3020G72. It should read in the fourth line 3420G72. So I'm recommending that you make a motion to amend to make that correction and then pass the ordinance if that's what you do.
So both of them really should say the same thing, SDCL 34-20G.
No, one is 70.
Line 3 is correct. Line 4 should read 3420G72.
I see where the change. Oh, I see. Okay.
I have a question regarding the ordinance. Sounds like the county, the direction they're getting from their legal counsel is that they're going to name how many permits you can have. I think they're going to have 1 permit, just like we have liquor permits. We're not doing that at this time, are we?
In answer to your question, I'm going to try to give you what I know and if I can't give you the answer, I'll tell you I don't know.
Okay.
This ordinance came out of a combined effort by the South Dakota Municipal League and the county association. And they sat down and drafted an identical ordinance. And the purpose of the ordinance is to say, the state hasn't adopted its rules and regulations, and we can't come to the decision of how many that we're going to end up having until we actually have those regulations passed. Some counties, as you pointed out, decided, well, we're gonna have one ordinance. I've heard a couple of talk about having 2 or 3. One of the issues is what's gonna happen with Dakota Dunes. Now, when you look at the initiated measure, it talks about political subdivisions, of which Dakota Dunes is not. And I assume out of the summer study that there's gonna be an effort to put those folks into who can sell and who cannot. I think the decision of whether or not you're going to have any, or whether you're going to have 1, 2, or 3 in the city of Alcester is going to be dependent upon what you anticipate the need to be. And I'm going to stop real quick, but in North Dakota, they have medical marijuana, and I'm going to call it a similar sized population. And I think they have about 5,000 people that are authorized to use medical marijuana. So I'm going to say I don't think there are going to be that many users under the terms and conditions of that ordinance. I anticipate you're going to see maybe as many as 10 places that will sell medical marijuana just because of the limited volume. Maybe 2 in Sioux Falls and 2 in Rapid City. You're shaking your head, so I'm going to stop.
No, I think though that when I was told by the county commissioner, they were told that there was a time frame they need to designate whether not to have any permits, probably not to be legal.
Okay.
So they thought they would just only 1. And we're missing any way at all by not doing it at this point in time.
I don't think you are with the way that I view the ordinance read. But I don't think there would be that much demand for medical.
No, I don't think so either.
No,
I guess the point was they didn't want to leave the door wide open like that 10, or
Right,
they can limit to 1, but you can't limit it to 0, is my understanding.
right. But recreational marijuana is going to be entirely different.
Oh, yeah.
If I may interrupt just a second, could you speak up a little bit, Mr. Nelson? Not everybody can hear you.
Oh, absolutely, I'm sorry. Did that answer your question?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
And I'll, talking, we think we need to, make a move to do that. We're still waiting, this is a freeze on the rules and regulations, and we don't think they're gonna be ready until October, Bureau of Administration, but we do think it could happen, and they've said that they'd let us know if they thought they were gonna get it done quicker. Does that prompt any other questions?
The only question I have is regarding the county saying that they're going to limit it to one. Does that, because we're in the county, mean that, let's just say we have one applicant in Alcester, is that the only one then for the entire Union County?
Well, the county is separately, because they have liquor licenses separately, and the municipalities have liquor licenses.
Exactly. The statute that was an initiated measure said that it has to be a political subdivision to issue the license. So we have the county, and then we have the municipalities. I'm assuming that the county just is going to issue one because it doesn't want to deal with the issue.
Right.
And I think a collateral issue is that, well, if you authorize someone for medical marijuana, how are you going to turn them down for recreational? Because if they could do medical. Are you still having trouble hearing me?
A bit.
You are, okay. Then I'll start looking at you when I talk, so you can read my lips. This is about all I got.
You want to move up here?
Does a
You
municipality?
can move up here, I'll sit back there. If that'll help you, you sure can.
Thank you.
Sure,
Under
sure.
Under the medical marijuana, I think the answer is no. Under the recreational marijuana, I think the answer is yes.
Okay.
And I think the drafters of that constitutional amendment on recreational were very careful so that there could be communities like Freeman that could say, that's not us.
So they're two separate things as far as you know.
Yes, that's correct.
So, when we look at this, it says a temporary, first of all, ordinance. Second of all we're saying is we're not gonna do anything until the state says what they're gonna do. So we're not saying no, absolutely no applicants. We're not saying 10. We're saying until the state says what their guidelines are going to be, we're going to just abstain. Any other questions? Keeping in mind that section 1, page 2, has that change to 34 from 30.
I think we need a motion to amend to say that.
Okay,
Have that voted on, and then do what you're gonna do with the ordinance.
everybody hear that? We need a motion to amend it, and then we would need a motion and passed.
Okay, the motion would be to change on line 4, under section 1, SDCL 30-22-72 to 34-20G-72.
I'll make a motion to amend section 1, line 4, SDCL 30-20G-72 to 34-20G-72.
I'll second it.
A motion has been made and seconded regarding the change to section 1, line 4, from SDCL 30 to SDCL 34. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? With that amendment, we will need a motion to approve, what would be the first reading? Second reading, excuse me.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the second reading of ordinance 2021-09, a temporary ordinance regarding the issuance of local medical cannabis establishment permits and/or licenses.
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded regarding ordinance 2021-09 as amended. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Community Center bond.
Mark is here, Mark.
Yes, Mark?
That would be. I'll just step up here. Does this work for everyone? I want to get in front of you.
Sure.
Well, good evening. It's been a little while since I've been here, but I'm happy to be back. Mark Durrani with AMCO Advisors, for those of you who don't know me. I got a call last week from Pat saying we need some money to kind of finish out the funding for the community center. Looks like we need about $500,000. So I wanted to come and provide you with some information. This is high-level information at this point, okay? So none of this is set in stone at this point. We've got quite a bit of work to do to get there, but I'll kind of give you an idea of what's going to go into that. But I have some numbers in your packet, which are estimates based on, just some market rates that we've been seeing for, some similar kinds of bonds, revenue bonds. So we're looking at this as a revenue bond, whether it comes from the community center or the sales tax. We'll work those details out as we continue to move forward. But we're looking at doing this as a revenue bond, not a general obligation bond. Okay. Once we go through that process, I've estimated right now, conservatively, the par amount of the bonds at $575,000. That looks like a lot, but part of that is a reserve, because when we do a revenue bond off the market, the buyers typically like to have a debt service reserve, which you have for your current revenue bond that we did for you back last year. So that's a big part of that extra over the $500,000. There's also some cost of issuance, a fee for the advising fee, the bond counsel fees, things like that. So that's where these numbers come from. And then I looked at this as a 20-year amortization, and you can see the debt service schedule, which is the second page. Kind of looks like got the blue lines on them. Okay, so the debt service schedule says you're going to have an annual payment of somewhere between $30,000 and $40,000. It varies a little bit just based on the way that they're calculated, which is very typical. But that number, I believe, is in line with where you expect it to be or want it to be. We have an average or a weighted average interest rate that we've estimated at this point under 2.4% for 20 years, which to me is still pretty good, even though the market has been all over the board for the last year. I can't keep it straight anymore what's going on, but it has settled down a little bit, and we've actually seen the rates decrease a little bit. I think maybe more as things have normalized somewhat. If you can call where we're at now normal. I don't know if we can, but things have sort of normalized in the market a little bit. The 10-year treasury has been hovering in that 1.5 to 1.6 kind of range for the last, actually probably the last 2 or 3 months, and that's typically good news. Bond market rates have actually decreased a little bit, so that's good. By the time we put this together, I don't know where we're going to be, but overall right now, I feel like we've got a pretty good estimate on what the rates would be at least. Okay. Again, I think these numbers are conservative. They're probably going to be less than this from the standpoint of that $575,000, but we've got some work to do to get there. We'll go through a process, we'll gather more information, make sure that we know everything we need to know. And then what we would like to do is work with D.A. Davidson again. So we worked with D.A. Davidson on what we call a negotiated bond in this space to do the refunding that we did for you guys last year. I think they did a great job. I feel confident that you guys felt good about it as well. I've been working with them quite a bit over the last few months for, all over the country, it seems like, bonds that we've been working on. And I know they'll do a great job. And so one of the items, did it get to your packet, Pat, the engagement letter from D.A. Davidson?
Yep.
Okay. I literally got it while I was on my way here while I was driving, so I was trying to be kind of careful with what I did. But there is an engagement letter. None of these, by the way, are what you would call contracts, right? None of them obligate the city to do anything. If we brought you an offer and you didn't want to take it, you're not obligated for any expense or anything like that, okay? But for rules within the MSRB and for the SEC purposes, we have to have these engagement letters in place, okay? We believe in talking with Mr. Nelson right before the meeting, there may be a few changes to both the agreement from AMCO as well as the DA Davidson agreement. So they're not going to be material with respect to what work we're going to do and things like that, but there's some liability language that we may want to change, and that's completely fine. We're more than happy to do that. So what we're looking for, obviously we've got a lot of work to do, and we'll hopefully come back in maybe at the next meeting. It all depends, and maybe do like a parameters resolution so that we can do that, and then we have the flexibility to go out and market the bonds and then bring in an offer and that kind of thing. Timeline, we're looking at, Pat had asked to try to be within the next 60 days. We'll do it as quickly as we can get it done. Not a whole lot of information needed because we have a lot of it from doing the last bond, so I think we can be ready relatively quickly. And then we just got to go up to the market and get it sold. So, like I said, with that, there are actually 2 agreements in your packet. Call them engagement letters, if you will. One is from AMCO Advisors, my company. The other one is from DA Davidson. And I believe what we're asking for is approval from the council for the mayor to sign and execute those agreements once we've made the changes that have been recommended. And like I said, I have no problem with the changes that we talked about earlier, so we'll just get them done, and then we'll get you clean copies to sign if you approve it.
Could you explain the difference between a revenue bond and general?
Sure. A general obligation bond has a tax levy attached to it. So it's basically the full faith and credit of the city is backing that bond. And typically there's a tax levy that matches, most of the time, not always, but most of the time the tax levy actually matches the debt service requirement or the payment amount on an annual basis, okay? When a revenue bond is done, it's actually a pledge of the revenue. So whether it's sales tax or whether it's revenue from the community center itself, the golf course, those things will all be, those revenues will be pledged as opposed to a tax levy.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Any other questions I can answer at this point? Or I always feel like I have my back to people. I apologize. You probably don't want me turning in circles or anything.
Oh, that's okay.
Really, I don't want to.
You're good.
Any questions?
Are those, can I just ask, are those pictures of the new center?
Yes, and these are the furnishings,
Nice.
so,
Good.
yeah.
I'm sure everybody's excited about that.
Yeah, it's looking more and more like that.
Yeah?
Yeah, it is.
Awesome. Good deal.
We
I'm
get a
excited
floor
to be
tomorrow.
part of it. What's that?
We get a floor tomorrow.
That's awesome.
Did you? Then I guess if you don't have any more for us, Mark, then I guess what we ought to do is we ought to discuss it to the extent we need to, and then you can see there are actually 2 motions that would have to be made. It has to do with the engagement letter for AMCO and the engagement letter for DA Davidson, both of which are in your packets there.
And I think the only change to the motion then would be some mention of after it's been edited by legal counsel
Right.
or something to that nature.
I was just going to say, Mr. Nelson mentioned to me earlier that there were just some little things that he was interested in having changed. Doesn't sound like there should be an issue for either side after those changes, so has to do with liability, I believe. I would need a motion to, we'll go with the AMCO Community Center bond and guess, advising agreement. And the fact that after Mr. Nelson and I get an opportunity to discuss it, if we both agree, then we would approve that letter. I would need a motion.
Is this the one that has the revision to it, or do both of them?
Both of them.
They will both require it.
Okay.
Can I
Yes, go ahead.
I would like a motion to approve the advising agreement with AMCO for community center bond in form and manner approved by the city attorney, and further authorizing the mayor to sign that agreement on behalf of the city as amended and approved by the mayor.
So, we would need that motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the advising agreement with AMCO for the community center bond approved by the city attorney and approved by the mayor, approval of Mayor Hayter to execute the agreement on behalf of the city. Does that sound?
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded regarding the approval of the AMCO Community Center Bond Advising Agreement that will have been modified and agreed upon by both our legal counsel and myself. Is there any discussion?
I guess sorry to ask so many questions, but since I'm new on here, is there a general consensus that the community was expecting to spend another $150,000, whatever it is, and they're gonna support that? Or what are we committing to right now? We're committing to a fee of $15,000 for the consulting firm? That's what I see
That's
there.
part of it. What we had originally said was that the city was going to probably put in about $500,000.
This is the plan all along? And
Yes.
That's what was originally.
Okay, okay. And instead of 500, it might only be 150 then? Is that what you're
No,
saying?
the city's contribution, Ms. Larson is incorrect on her 150,000. The city was always going to put the 500,000 in as our contribution.
But-
About 40,000 will pay off the existing loan on our golf course. And then the 460 or whatever amount that is will be our contribution to getting that building.
So, just so it's clear in my mind again, the original commitment was to go up to 500,000.
Correct.
And whatever this bond is now will be less than that, right? What is the bond amount we're looking to do then?
Well, the bond is still 500,000, but
Oh,
there's
yes, okay.
expenses that go along with obtaining a bond, plus 38,000 or about 40,000 is reserve.
So if it came in exactly like this, it would come in at 575,000. But Mark just alluded to the fact that chances are it will be less than that. How much less than that, we don't know, but you can kind of expect 575,000 or less. That would be the bond. And part of that does service completely your bond on the golf course that's
Correct.
existing. Eliminates that. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Opposed? Passes. I'm assuming that the next one would be very similar,
Very similar.
except D.A. Davidson where AMCO is.
It is a very, very similar collateral issue as it relates to you guys saying they have no liability. I have visited with the AMCO advisor. He does not speak for them, but he has assured me that he thinks that that language can be cleared up. And so it'd be the same motion that we just had previously as it relates to the engagement letter of D.A. Davidson. Is that fair?
It is.
Okay.
Does that make sense, everyone? motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion to approve the engagement letter with D.A. Davidson after approval from our legal counsel and further approval from Mayor Hayter to execute the agreement on behalf of the city of Alcester.
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded regarding the engagement letter with D.A. Davidson, the amendments as brought forth by legal counsel, and then my agreement to the same amendments as well. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
All right.
I'll get started on my homework list this week.
There's enough of it, isn't there?
Now we'll move on to legal updates, and Nelson will provide some of that with.
You have a tentative agreement that you were working with on Danny project. And I looked at that agreement, Sammy's looked at it, but the other side is back, they like the language to read this, is a reason why. One of the reasons I'm willing to proceed and make that change, there's a couple other ones I don't like the language. This is the night for liability. It has to deal with liability and who's responsible if something goes wrong. It's always going to be our advice, you should never waive your right to go after somebody if they've made a mistake. So the mayor and I have committed to go through that agreement tomorrow and explain the issues that I have, and we're gonna come up with a final one so I can go to the other side and say this and this. And of course, you guys see those changes, you've seen the red line version, and then we'll have to come back with you for final approval. But the short version is we're working on it, and we're gonna work on it tomorrow.
If you did read through that at all, there was quite a bit of redlining in it. There's quite a bit of changing on both sides, really, but obviously some of the things that our legal counsel looked at, they didn't necessarily approve some of the omissions and or additions that they wanted to put in. So again, we've got somebody that's watching out for us. So. Really,
I'd be happy to answer any questions.
we're going to discuss that, and it'll come back to you again probably in 2 weeks, I would guess, from tonight.
As a matter of clarification, did you vote on that first thing that Linda made the motion on and Cindy made the motion on
Yes.
AMCO?
Yes.
Did you vote on that?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Any other updates that you can think of?
No.
Okay. Thank you very much. We'll move on to the item number 9, police updates. And we do have some interesting information there. I should introduce interim police chief Sculler. You know him already. We've known him as Officer Sculler for quite some time, but he is the interim police chief because as the police chief that stepped out of the position suggested the other day during an exit interview and in a meeting with me prior, organizations like DCI, we're just going to use them as an example, Department of Criminal Investigation, excuse me, they require a chief as a contact point. So let's say something happens and we require the DCI to come in and help our police department. Well, they don't just have an officer, and I don't mean to say just an officer, trust me, but they don't just have an officer asking for that. And then once they say, yep, sure, and they commit themselves and they come out here and then the chief says, what are you guys doing here? I didn't authorize this. that's why the title is necessary. So, the other day, after the chief of police at the time had officially resigned and left his position, I installed or appointed Officer Sculler at the time, interim police chief. Obviously, we'll have to discuss the motion to accept his resignation. You guys saw the resignation, was it just 1 week ago?
No, two.
Was it? A lot of things have happened since he originally handed in his resignation. We tried a number of different things and, well, I guess, I don't know, Chief, what you think, but when we kept running into little roadblocks, all we did was basically spin our wheels to the point where there was no way that I could look him in the eye and say, we're gonna get this fixed. I mean, as you'll find out, we could have done that, but we would have been even more behind as far as being upside down, so to speak. All of a sudden, there comes a time when the income doesn't even match the output, and that's not where we want to be. So, we have had a resignation. He is gone. And I would need a motion to accept that resignation. I know it's not going to be fun.
I'll make a motion to accept Jeff Christie's resignation as police chief.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded to accept Jeff Christie's resignation as police chief for the city of Alcester. Is there any discussion?
I think it should be publicly noted that we should thank him for his service to the city.
Yes.
Well, and not that this is all important, but he was thanked multiple times already. But I agree. I think there should be something in writing. I mean, I think there should be something appropriate. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. You can see that the next letter C, the item on the agenda is executive session, and this was asked for by the interim police chief, Sculler. We would need a motion and a second and a vote for that.
A motion to enter into executive session pursuant to SDLC 1-25-2-1-personnel.
Second. Motion has been made and seconded to enter into executive session pursuant to SDCL 1-25-2-1. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are in executive session at 6:49 PM. And we are officially out of executive session at 7:37 PM. And we'll move on to number 10. Street Department. I guess we don't have Lonnie.
Chip seal day today.
He's maybe still out working at the golf course. He was, Mike
No,
Montessori.
he was coaching.
Oh, he was.
He's a coach, oh.
Oh, for T-ball.
Lonnie was helping, trying to get a pump started at the golf course for some of the afternoon. But we got chip sealing done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it all done?
All we're gonna have done, yeah.
Oh, everything is done, okay.
Next item is the cemetery. I guess, obviously, we're gonna be seeing more mowing done over there, but if we don't start getting some rain, we're gonna see even less mowing done over there too, so.
Parker was out there today, mowed, he was mowing the east side when I was out there.
Cemetery, I thought looked presentable, looked good for Memorial Day.
Yes.
Well, then we come to letter C, water, wastewater, and we had a situation the other day where all of a sudden the tower ran out of water, and the valve that is in the small shack that's, I guess I'm gonna say, a little bit south and a little bit east of the new community center, that valve did not operate properly. And so they ended up contacting, I don't know who it was, but I don't know whether Dale has worked with him a number of times in the past, but he appealed to them strongly, we really need you to come out here today, and they did that Saturday, this last Saturday, and they repaired it. Which is good.
Is this the supply valve for the pump?
Yeah, I'm assuming that it's actually the valve that when the low water alarm goes off, it says, open, give me everything you got, or,
Okay.
and it was trying, but I don't think it ever did open all the way.
So they had to come in and fix the valve, rebrand the pump. Okay.
And then it was scheduled to happen during this week, but it must have acted up again, because I saw Gail and Lonnie were out there Saturday morning, and the guy was on his way, so.
And they temporarily provided a little bit of relief by feeding right from one of the other hydrants on the other side to the hydrant there in my corner, so. We got through it, thank goodness there wasn't a fire or anything like that, but we need to look into aging infrastructure in the water tower as well, so. Obviously wastewater, things are still going ahead, but we're right now still dealing with the contract resolution. Once that's done, then we'll see it move ahead quicker. I did look at some of the dates, and I mean, we're still okay, but I definitely don't want this to drag out too much longer. We need to get with the program, so. How about the the library?
I think the librarian last week was at a training session he has to go to for certification. And tomorrow the 4-H group is coming for a program with summer reading program. Or maybe it's this week.
Paige is out this week,
She's gone this week. I think my wife is filling in.
and he was back today.
And he was and she's getting some new books because I signed some books.
Good. How about the golf course?
Well, we had part of a tree go down in the wind, and like I said, we're having issues with our main pump. I don't know what's happening. Maybe they got it taken care of. So,
Tree went down and just out on the course is all.
yeah, it didn't damage anything, it just fell over.
Yeah. Hazard, that's what we call that, a hazard.
It's- We moved it out of the way, and it's being, I think the guy was there cutting it up this afternoon.
What about the cart shed inspection?
I wasn't there, but I think they looked at all the buildings, and they're kind of trying to figure out which of the buildings they would be able to have space for, and which they'd be able to move. And I think it might have come down to the building that's now the maintenance shed. It's the one that I think they thought might be most suitable for them.
So nothing has been officially
No.
done, so we can't even do a motion or anything
I
currently.
think we're, I've kind of tentatively told them that, these are available for not much money. So they're trying to figure out what that's gonna take.
Okay,
Sorry,
yep, F is already done, that's the library again. And we'll move on to number 11 then, Purple Heart Trail information.
And I apologize, I did not include this in your packet, but it's in your packet now. I had a gal call me a couple weeks ago about seeing if Alcester would be interested in being a destination or be on the Purple Heart Trail. August 7th is National Purple Heart Day. It's an opportunity to recognize those who have received a Purple Heart. I did talk to Delane today. We do have 4 Alcester residents that he knows of, that 2 of them are still living and 2 have passed away, but that were Purple Heart recipients. And Delane was maybe gonna check with some of the more recent veterans to see if current service members have obtained a Purple Heart as well. But basically, what we'd be looking at doing is recognizing August 7th as Purple Heart Day, having it be an opportunity for a meet and greet type situation for the families that have had someone in their family who received a Purple Heart. Just an opportunity for them to get together and pay tribute to those. And I did talk to Delane too, because one of the things is to have a chapter commander. I'm assuming someone in either American Legion or VFW would serve as the chapter commander for Alcester. But anyway, it's just, I said that I would present it to the council and see how you guys felt about it. And in talking with Delane, he felt it would be good to have a spot to be recognized as well, so. And, if we did put on like a program or provide a meet and greet type thing, I mean, we have locations that we could do that. If we started it in the park, and then depending on the size, if they grew into something larger, then, we could look at other venues.
So where do we get this plaque from designating the city as Purple Heart City?
I believe that would probably come from the chapter,
That might be the biggest expense.
so. Anyway, I just wanted to present it to you.
We've got a little time, but I suppose if we're going to do this, we should,
Do you know who the 2 are?
There's four. Eugene Swanson. Arvid Dormesgaard is one that has passed away, and John Peterson was killed in the lion battle. And then I'm trying to think who the other one is that's still living.
Dave Byers.
Did he get a Purple Heart?
I know he was injured over there.
Um,
I'm not sure.
See,
I never asked him, I guess.
Delane didn't know Desert Storm and Present.
Okay.
Um,
I'm pretty sure,
That's what
I know he was injured over there, so I would assume.
Should have gotten a Purple Heart.
But I'll look up.
Oh,
my
that's
notes and
okay. I just
let
was
you know.
curious.
But
We can certainly work with them, that's for sure.
You need a motion?
Yes, I guess we would need a motion if we want to be participating.
I'll make a motion to approve the city of Alcester participating in the Purple Heart Trail Program.
Ryan, you second it?
Yes.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the city of Alcester as participating in the Purple Heart Trail Program. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You be in touch with Delane?
yes.
Tell him if he needs anything, I'll be happy to help.
Okay.
How about the door replacement? This would be the door at the bar, the back door.
And this is the only bid you got?
Correct.
And this says estimate, not bid either. I wonder if that's bid or an estimate?
Well,
On his paperwork that he presented, he's got estimate.
It does say.
yeah. Well, I feel he would honor it. You know, because he did come out and look at it, he measured it. It's kind of a unique opening. And he is looking at, when the break-in occurred, it did damage the wood frame. And so there would be a full steel frame.
His steel frame and everything.
Mhm. And then we also are going to put the device that our guys made back on the door because nobody will get through that one
Especially with a new
with a new solid
steel
door.
door.
Yeah,
So the device that they made, is that 50-pound thing that they have?
it looks like a big 8.
That's maybe a slight.
Did you say how much it
Maybe
weighs?
isn't quite 50, but-
It's 50 pounds?
It feels like 50 pounds when you're lifting it up in the air, and if you do, you gotta get it in them brackets, and then you gotta pull it down and take a sledgehammer and pound it in there.
Oh, gee.
I think that it won't be quite that bad with the new one, obviously. This.
Well, they rigged it up pretty fast, so
Yeah, this door is
he
bent.
could probably fix it to be better, easier.
Yeah,
Easier to do.
basically a big bolt, cross bolt, so
Well, if this is our only option, are you asking for a motion?
that's what we would need.
I make a motion to approve ordering and installing a new door at the bar for $4,555,
I'll second
supplied
it.
by Garrettson Construction.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the ordering and installation of the new door for approximately $4,555 by Garrettson Construction. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? July council meeting date change. Does that have something to do with the fourth weekend? We need a motion to approve changing the council meeting date to July 12th at 6 PM. This location.
So then we have a 12th and a 19th.
Correct.
Right.
that work for you? Is there any, I know I have one council person that
Yeah.
would be not in the
I
office.
probably won't make either one of those.
Do the rest of you have availability on the 12th?
I usually
I
have
will be
another-
by phone.
Need a phone?
I usually have a meeting on the second Monday.
A separate meeting, a different meeting. Yeah.
That I would like to go to.
We can choose a different day that week if this works better.
It almost doesn't matter to me. The only thing is, if we're going somewhere toward the weekend, but that's pretty rare too. So we do need to decide before we move on.
So the 4th's on a Sunday, so
Right.
Monday's the holiday.
Yeah.
And we do it on Tuesday.
Well, I'm trying to not have the meeting at all that week.
Oh.
That's why I opted to the next week.
How about the 13th, Tuesday the 13th?
Work better for me.
Doable?
I still won't be.
You still
No.
won't be? What's everybody else think? I mean, is it just as good as any other day? Yep, pretty much.
I have grandkids that whole week, so.
You might need a break.
Yeah, you might want to come.
I might not be here the whole time, put it that way.
Bring them with.
Well, I would need a motion to change it regardless.
I'll make a motion to approve changing the meeting to the July 13th at 6 PM at the old school center.
Motion's been made
Thank you, Curtis, I'll second that.
and seconded. To approve changing the council meeting for July, the first council meeting for July date to July 13th, 6 PM, right here in this room. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And we'll move on to finance officer updates. Obviously, warrants.
The only thing I was gonna say is, if any of our new people are interested in, well, actually, or anyone, interested in attending the elected officials workshop that is in Pier on July 14th. So if you are interested in attending, you just need to let me know before July 1st, and I will submit your application. It is a good workshop. It kind of talks about the different aspects of the city. But
I noticed there were a couple of different things that were pretty timely.
kids,
Well, even when they talked about executive session and so on, a number of different
Maybe
things.
wish I could visit.
We would need a motion to approve the warrants.
Make a motion to approve the May warrants.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the May warrants. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? As far as reminders and updates, free green fees weekend, June 12th, 13th. There's a ladies golf league salad luncheon, June 17th. And a father youth golf tournament, June 19th. That same day is free swimming. And then the following week begins swimming lessons, June 21st through July 2nd.
What are the managers? Who did we decide?
Haley
Bailey is.
and Carly Lewis. Carly is from Canton.
They're kind of doing the dual.
Yep.
Okay.
The pool has been packed.
Yeah.
We could not keep concessions in stock. So I drove by today and I just was like amazed at how,
There was a line of cars.
yeah.
I was like, whoa. But it was hot out.
It's hot. Well, how about an Alcester Community Center update?
Got a meeting tomorrow, right?
Yes, we are getting concrete on, they're gonna do 2 pours, one on Tuesday, one on Thursday. And then once the floor gets in, because all the underground stuff is ready for the pour, and once the ground gets in, then they'll start doing the main work. Our tile is here. So the thing they were concerned about, not being able to get the tile in a timely fashion, it arrived immediately. The next thing that Jim forewarned me on is there's a lead time on paint.
Lead time on everything.
It's amazing, and it's on something you wouldn't even expect, just out of the blue.
So, anyway,
So-
but Jim is aware of it, so
Are we on schedule? How close to, on their schedule are they?
Jim always says he's slightly behind schedule,
Okay.
but we'll see.
But you think he's pretty close?
No,
No, I don't think it's close.
You don't think he's close to being,
You
okay.
gotta get more than 4 people working there.
That's what I wondered. It doesn't ever seem
But,
like there's very many people.
You know, right now, all they're doing is, they're working on the siding, front siding for the restaurant. Energy room part, or, bar part of it is pretty much done.
Do you think they're gonna do the floor with 4 people?
no,
Well,
they'll bring
they
in
have
a crew.
been. They have,
Okay.
the crew that's there generally is like 4 people. There were more people there today getting ready for the snow.
Okay, I was gonna say.
That would be-
you get that.
That would be the concrete crew, they'll be here all week,
Okay.
the concrete crew. But Jim is just fortunate and happy that he's got workers, so,
So we just subcontracted.
yeah.
Yeah. If you're wondering why the tin or the metal isn't on the ends of the golf cart storage shed, Jim forgot to order the longest 2 pieces, the ones that go from the floor to the peak. So they can't do that until they get those 4 pieces, 2 on each end, so. That's what the holdup is there, otherwise the cart storage shed would be mostly done.
All right, and then we can move on to the Fair Board. Anything from you, Darla?
Well, it's gonna be a big year we're hoping for. We voted in to have the, what do you call it, bull riding, which is a big investment,
I
so
bet.
we're gonna have to spread the word to get
Yeah.
the people.
Yeah.
It was a big investment, but there'll also be a parade in the afternoon, which I was thinking that would be something we could do, those veteran thing maybe. So there'll be a
About the
parade.
same time, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll still have the pedal pole and, let's see, what
The
was it?
bouncy house, they've increased that,
They've increased that because they're trying to make this, last year was 90, but because we couldn't have it, this
Yeah.
will be the 90-year celebration. So, yeah, we have Fair Board next week again.
They've got the-
There was some building issues. The fence, if you hadn't noticed, was knocked down. The fence is in bad shape. The commissioners were willing to look at it, but it was like a $25,000 fix.
Wow.
So they voted, no, we're not doing that right now. But Janet knew someone, he came up and I believe it's fixed.
Okay.
But also there's damage on the hoop barn and there's also damage on the show ring roof. So as we were standing there looking at it, it all kind of happened during the winter in kind of one of those snow blizzard. It's kind of in a line.
Huh.
So she did call the insurance company and they were coming up. So we have Fair Board next week. So maybe but it will be, we're hoping for a big attendance at the bull riding. So that's on Saturday night, tractor pull, Friday
Friday
night.
night.
And that's always been a big lead.
That's always a big,
That metal one that kind of down on,
Tractor pull
tractor
area.
pull.
Okay, that's what I figured.
There's a big section out
Yeah.
this time up more to the east.
The poles are rotten, the wood is just
Yeah.
given way, and
Post
then
gun.
with the,
Yeah, and it was
Excessive wind.
unreal what, to fix it.
Darla,
But it's
has,
been there forever.
has the water issue been fixed, do you know?
That I do not know. They're still looking into it. Oh, but the inside of
oh my gosh,
the exhibit building is unreal.
it's beautiful, it's completely
Shooting
remodeled.
Sports is in there, it's been completely redone.
It looks so
Yeah.
nice.
It is very nice.
it
Very,
still
very
stinks
nice.
down there, by the way. The
Oh.
smell is awful.
I noticed today.
I just about drives me
that
crazy
they're
when I walk
hauling
by
in some
there.
dirt down there. I
Oh.
did notice that.
Yes, yeah, I did notice there's some dirt.
Behind Tristan's, in that field,
In that,
No,
or in the tractor,
in the-
in the parking
in the
lot.
parking.
lot.
That's
Oh,
where
there
it
was two or
stinks so
three
bad.
2 or 3 loads of dirt hauled in there.
Yeah, it's just
Janet is
awful.
really irritated with that, so I think that might be a,
But every year, I hate that smell.
yeah.
And George's shop, you know, is there.
Oh,
so-
yeah, you get blasted.
Yes, and there'll be some even in his driveway, and he brings it all into the garage.
Yes.
You look at the old
Right.
beans there,
And
the
it's
beans were
like
really
they
bad.
said,
Oh,
right,
yes,
it's
yeah,
worse.
it was
Oh,
awful.
That's the
that
worst.
tiki smell?
Yeah, it smells really bad right now when I walk by there.
The ground.
I know when I have my windows open, I can look at it.
Hopefully, didn't they say that in another year, they might not even have to use that?
Oh, for the FCS.
Yeah,
You might have to use what?
They
use
might
that
not have
They
to
might
use it.
not have to use it.
in another year.
Was the source of $1,200 income?
Not to the city,
That's not to the city?
no.
Oh, okay.
County can send it. Yep.
Oh, okay.
The fairground, Kurt, is in 3 entities. Well, now the railroad is,
Railroad's
the
out.
railroad used to be the upper part.
Oh,
The
okay.
middle
Is
is
us.
us, the city, and then below that fence is the county,
Township.
township.
And
So
the
that
county.
fairground's got 3 bosses.
And the county.
And the county, yeah.
Kind of together.
It's a nightmare.
Well, it is pretty exciting though, so.
Thanks for your work on getting that lined up. Sounds like a big job.
Well, I hope it all comes through.
Well, we got item number 17, executive session if needed.
I'm requesting that we go into those people
Okay, so then that would be 1-25-2-3, legal counsel. That would be what you would be moving for.
I'll make a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to SDCL 1-25-2-3.
And a second.
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded to enter into executive session for pursuant to SDCL 1-25-2-3, legal counsel. Is there any discussion?
The statute is 1-25-2 bracket 3, which is consulting with legal counsel, reviewing communications with legal counsel about proposed or pending litigation. I just wanted to make sure we had.
Oh, okay.
No, bracket, not a, okay.
So
Okay.
if you would.
I will rephrase.
I appreciate it.
Motion to enter into executive session pursuant to SDCL 1-25-2, parens 3.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to enter into executive session pursuant to SDCL 1-25-2, parentheses 3. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You're in executive session at 8:07 PM. we are out of the executive session at 8:15 PM. The only thing that's left is number 18, a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the council.
I'll second.
Motion has been made and seconded to adjourn the city council. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And I will say we are adjourned at 8:16 PM. Yes, sir? And, okay. Yes. You were going to contact him regarding my